Alright guys, so I'm going to do a set of problems regarding section 4.2. So section 4.2, and I'm going to start by doing the problem number 1. Alright, so on this problem number 1, we get 10x to the 6 divided by 5x cubed. So this looks like a multiplied by b over c multiplied by d. Why? Because you have a multiplication right here and a multiplication right there. So definitely what I can do is do 10 over 5 multiply by x to the 6 over x cubed. Now, 10 to the 5 equal 2, so I end up to have a 2 multiplied by x to the 6 over x to the 5. Now, if I do remember that a to the negative n equal 1 over a to the n, that implies that 1 over x to the 5 equal x to the negative 5. So now I end up to have 2 multiply x to the 6 multiply by x to the negative 5. And I know also that a to the n multiplied by a to the m, it's equal to a to the n plus m. So the same base x, I got exactly the same base x, which is exactly what I have right here. So I can definitely now express that as 2 times x to the 6 plus negative 5. And when I do 2 times 6 minus 6 plus negative 5, let me represent that much better, plus negative 5, I end up to have 2 times x to the 1. Actually, why do I put negative 5? I'm sorry, guys. It's not a negative 5. It's a cube. So I'm going to put a 3 right here, a 3 right there. I end up to have x to negative 3, 6 plus negative 3 equals 6x cubed. Okay, let's try to do another one this time, making sure that I'm not making any mistake. So on the problem number 7, we have 8x cubed minus 5x divided by 2x. This is look like a minus b over c, which is a over c minus b over c. So I got 8x cubed over 2x minus 5x over 2x. I can simplify the x right here, divide out the x right there, but I can also divide 8 divided by 2 equal 4. And so the answer is going to be 4x squared minus 5. All right. Now, that said, on the problem number 17, what do we have? We're having a polynomial p of x, which is equal to x to the 5th minus 2x cubed plus 1. And we have to calculate p of negative 1.6 and p of negative 1.5. When I calculate p of negative 1.6, which is basically putting negative 1.6, substituting negative 1.6, instead to have x, minus 2 times negative 1.6 cubed plus 1, I end up to find a negative 1.29376. And if I do the same for negative 1.5 to the 5th minus 2 times negative 1.5 cubed plus 1, I end up to find 0.15625. So I can clearly see that this is positive this is negative. That means there is a 0 in between these two values of x. And there is a 0 of the polynomial. So that implies there is a 0 of p of x in between x equal negative 1.6 and x equal negative 1.5. Negative 1.5. And if I look at the 0 with my calculator, I will be able to define that the 0 is negative 1.51. All right, now let's try to do the problem number 23. On the problem number 23, we are going to do the division of the polynomial p of x equal 3x cubed minus 11x squared minus 20x plus 3. And we're trying to define the division of this polynomial by x minus 5. So, and what is the answer when I divide this polynomial by x minus 5? So let me do first of all the long division. If I do the long division, I need to have my polynomial with a decreasing exponent. So I need to have an x squared. Excellent, I got my x squared, I got my x, and the last number. And step number one, I'm going to take the highest exponent of my polynomial and I'm going to divide by the first term of my x minus 5, which is x, and I end up to have 3x squared. So I put 3x squared right here, and then I multiply 3x squared by x. I multiply 3x squared by x, and that gives me 3x cubed. 3x squared minus 5x times minus 5 equal minus 15x squared. Then I need to subtract, and when I subtract, the negative 15x squared becomes a plus, and so I end up to have at the end, a plus 15x squared minus 11x, and so that gives me a 4x squared. I'm going to bring down the negative 20x, and I repeat the process, which is taking the first term, which is 4x squared, and I'm going to divide 4x squared by x, the first term of x minus 5, and that gives me 4x. So I'm going to put 4x, oops, there we go. So plus 4x. 4x by x equals 4x squared, and 4x by negative 5 equals negative 20x. I am going to subtract, and when I'm subtracting, negative 20x becomes plus. Now I end up to have 0. 4x squared minus 4x squared 0, and then negative 20x plus 20x, because negative by negative give me a plus, give me 0. I bring down a 3, and now there is nothing that I can do. I cannot divide. If I try to do the same thing that I used to do, I cannot divide. There we go. 3 divided by x. There is nothing that I can do about that. So that means that when I do the division of this polynomial, I end up to have, at the end of the day, I end up to have a 3x squared plus 4x plus 3, which is the rest, over x minus 5. Okay? All right, now if I try to do the same division doing the synthetic division, okay? So if I do with the synthetic division, basically I'm doing is negative 5, and I have negative 5, x minus 5, I'm going to take negative 5, and I'm going to take 3 for 3x cubed, decreasing exponent, so it has to be negative 11x squared, then negative 20, and then the plus 3. And I'm going to bring down step number 1, I'm going to bring down the 3. I am going to multiply negative 5 by 3, that gives me negative 15. And I know that I need to subtract. So I'm going to have the negative 15 becoming a plus, and I end up to have negative 11 plus 15, that gives me plus 4. Then I continue, I multiply negative 5 by plus 4, that gives me negative 20. Because I have a plus, I'm going to have, because I have subtraction sign, I'm going to have minus by minus give me a plus, and I end up to have 0. And then negative 5 times 0 equals 0, and when I subtract, I end up to have 3. The first 3, this one right here, was corresponding to 3x cubed, meaning that the second 3, I'm going to show this one. This one right here is going to correspond to 3x squared. Now I know there is a decreasing exponent, so after x squared I need to have 4x plus 0 plus the rest, and obviously 3 is the rest, so I'm going to have plus 0 plus 3 over x minus 5, and if you don't want to write the 0, it's going to be 3x squared plus 4x plus 3 over x minus 5. Alright guys, so now let me do the problem number 29. On the problem number 29, we're having x plus 1, and so I'm going to take the plus 1 because it's divided by x plus 1, and I'm having negative 2x cubed. And when I look at my problem, I see there is no x squared. I need to have a decreasing exponent, so it's going to be 0x squared. I'm missing my x squared, so it's 0x squared. So it's going to be plus 0. I need to put plus 0 for the 0x squared. And then if I put plus, actually it's a minus negative 1. Minus negative 1. And the last one is going to be negative 2. Let me get rid of the x cubed because I'm doing the synthetic division. So I'm bringing down the negative 2. 1 by negative 2 gives you negative 2. Remember, I'm subtracting. So my negative becomes a plus. And so I end up to have a plus 2 right here. 1 times plus 2 equals plus 2. I'm subtracting, so now I'm getting a minus. And so I end up to have a negative 3. And 1 times negative 3 equal negative 3. I'm getting a subtraction, so I'm getting a plus. And so I end up to have a 1. The negative 2 was corresponding to this negative 2 was corresponding to a cube, so the second negative 2 right here is corresponding to a x squared. And so we end up to have at the end of the day negative 2x squared, decreasing exponent plus 2x minus 3, and obviously plus 1, which is the rest, over x plus 1. You will notice that they were talking about dividing the polynomial by x plus 1, and in my synthetic division, I took the plus 1. Whatever is in my parentheses, I decided to take it, and so I need to subtract.